So I'm going to invite you onto your backs this morning and to begin the practice. You might want to have a pillow or a blanket for your head. We're going to start with some breath work this morning. Okay, so we're going to really drop in to some nice pranayama, and we will also come back to it at the end of practice as well. So taking a moment to settle in on your back, and we want to have a fairly active posture, or more active posture than if we were in full shavasana, legs extended. So let's bend the knees, take the feet a little bit wider than your hips and bring the knees together. Now, that's not comfortable for everybody, so you're welcome to bring the feet a little closer. I encourage this only from the standpoint that the knees kind of knock together, so to speak. And that allows the legs to lean up against each other, and you're not having to hold them up. Otherwise, they want to fall to side. And then I invite you to place your palms on your lower belly. Allow the shoulders to softly open. Facial muscles relax. Back body surrenders into gravity, into the floor, into your mat. Allow the body to drop into this moment. Allow your whole being to drop into this moment. I'd like to begin our practice with one another by taking 3 deep breaths together. And what we'll do is inhale through the nose, hold at the top of the breath, and then slowly exhale out through the mouth and hold at the bottom of the exhale. So empty the breath out completely wherever you are. Inhale through the nose, a nice full deep breath in. Pause at the top of the breath. And exhale slowly out through the mouth, letting the breath fall away. Belly sinks back to the spine, and pause in the emptiness. And 2 more times, just like that, inhaling through the nose. Hold. Exhale slowly through the mouth. And hold again for a moment. One more time, inhale. Hold. And let it go. Now allow your breath to find its own rhythm. Beginning to find some stillness, quieting things down. And really checking in with who's here physically. So you might scan the body from head to toe. Acknowledging those areas that are asking for a little extra care and attention today. And then we'll move into our energy body. We took 3 deep breaths, and were there any resistance, or was there any resistance there, or any tension, or just notice any of that with those 3 breaths we took. And then just also an opportunity to connect or check in with the subtle energies within us, the chakras, the nadis, You might notice sensations beneath the skin. And slowing down enables us to really feel those subtle energies, or to connect more deeply with them. And then we can check in with our mental and emotional body. We might notice thoughts that are taking us away from this moment, or we might notice certain emotions right there at the surface. We're just acknowledging what's showing up for us right now. We're not trying to change or fix anything. And in this stillness, we can begin to hear that small, still voice within. That inner knowing or inner GPS or intuition, that wisdom within. And allowing yourselves to be open to that guidance through the practice, taking care of yourself. And then when honoring those layers and remembering to allow or make choices that are in alignment with our truth, we connect more and more, or we remember, come home to that place of peace within. Bliss, our essence, that is our truth. You find your just kind of an overview of what you discovered there, just noticing what came up for you, and a willingness to accept whomever that was or is, whatever you discovered, whatever emotions are there, what thoughts are there, what's going on in the physical body, those things that we want to judge as right or wrong, or we have to or shoulds, and instead just find a loving acceptance of what is. There's a softening in that. So again, it's allowing ourselves to be in that softness, in that ease. Bring your attention back to your breath, and with your palms on your lower belly, so they're resting just below the belly button. Very deliberately breathe into your belly, allowing it to rise and fall with each breath. So feel the expansion of the belly as you take the breath in, and a gentle contraction and a release as you let the breath out. We're finding an even length of breath between the inhale and the exhale. And we're breathing deeply, but it's still comfortable, please. So no strain or stress. I'm not trying to overdo this. We're going to move our hands, our fingers, our palms right up to the rib cage, on either side of the rib cage. So we've moved the hands up and off to the side a bit. And then very deliberately breathe into your rib cage. So here you're going to feel the diaphragm move down and expand out. So it really, that's why our rib cage moves with the breath, is so that it allows the diaphragm to expand. If you've ever broken a rib, we know it's hard to take a deep breath, and that's why. So breathing deeply here, allowing that rib cage to expand out side to side, and And then as the breath releases, the rib cage contracts, the diaphragm moves back up. So we're just simply bringing awareness to the body and breathing, into the areas of the body we experience the breath. Now bring your thumbs and tuck them into the armpits, fingers to your upper chest. Okay, so I find that my upper arms come up off the floor to do this. That's fine. Just a few breaths here. As you expand or inhale, the chest expands, and you might feel the fingers move away from one another. And then as you exhale, the chest releases and the tips of the fingers may move towards one another again. So just be in your experience. That's what I feel. I can feel that breath in my upper back as well, in the floor. Where are you feeling it? Just notice that for you. Noticing when we bring our attention to one area, what happens to the other two areas we worked with. We're going to release that. We'll keep one hand up by the heart center and one hand on your belly. Right or left, either way. Just find what's comfortable for you. And we're going to come into a few moments here of just some nice deep breathing. And we're going to initiate the breath into the chest, and then the rib cage, and then the belly's last. And then the exhale, the belly releases, rib cage softens, and the chest releases. Okay, so three-part breathing. We can also just simply think of it as full body breathing. Inhaling through the nose, into the chest, ribs and belly. Exhaling through the nose, belly, ribs and chest. At your own pace. I'm going to encourage you to keep it slow and lengthened. You can have an intention here to take in what you need for yourself on each inhale. So you're receiving, a willingness to receive. And on the exhale, you're letting go of that which no longer serves you, or a sense of releasing. Whatever resonates with you. Just take 3 more rounds of breath here. And at the completion of the 3rd exhale, just release the arms by your side. Keep the breath a nice even length between the inhale and the exhale. Full body breathing. Let's bring our feet hip width apart and parallel, and just come into pelvic tilts. So I had several of you request low back, so we tuck under, it's a posterior tilt. Reverse that, anterior tilt. A little bit of a back bend. Just back and forth here. You can breathe in either direction. In other words, you can inhale and exhale one direction and the other. It's okay, just make sure you maintain the breath. Really checking in and noticing what you have going on in your low back this morning. And then we'll bring that into neutral and draw the knees into the chest. Gentle stretch through the low back. Tailbone, sacrum come up off the floor. Let the breath out. Release the breath as you hug the knees in close. And then you'll inhale, arm lengths away. Exhale, hug in. Inhale away. And go ahead from here and circle the knees in one direction. Keep your breath flowing. The circles can be big or small. With a request to slow down, you can do so in all your movements. Just taking everything more slowly, taking your time, enjoying the practice moment to moment. There's no end game here. There's no goal. We're not trying to achieve anything, so to speak. Being present is enough. And then switch and circle the other way if you haven't. And then bring the feet back into the floor. And with any low back requests, let's do a little bit with the hamstrings. So lift the right foot off the floor, interlace your hands behind the right thigh or one hand on top of the other, either way works. Let's find a little movement with our breath. We'll inhale, extend the foot towards the ceiling, press out through the heel. Exhale, bend the knee and release the heel towards the buttocks. Thigh stays fairly still. Okay, so it's not really moving, it's just the knee down. And as you straighten the leg, it's an opportunity to kind of just notice how that feels, what's going on in the hamstring there, maybe even into the calf behind the knee. And the next time we inhale and extend, let's go ahead and hold. Press out through that right heel, or another way to think about it is bringing the toes towards your face. Foot is flexed. Feel that stretch through the Achilles, through the calf, through the back of the knee, into the hamstring, maybe even to the hamstring attachment into the glute. And just breathe here. We're warming up. We're coming into our warm up of the practice, so we don't have to come in and find our maximum edge here. Just keep this soft and gentle. Breath flowing. At the completion of the next exhale, go ahead and place that right foot on the floor. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Take a hold of the back of the left thigh. We did about 4 or 5 rounds. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Notice what's going on this side. Okay, no judgment if it's different, just an acceptance of whatever's showing up. And the next time you extend, let's pause. And again, hold here with the breath. Just a soft stretch, minimal edge. Being gentle with the body as we invite it into the practice slowly. Continue to get to know who exactly you're inviting into the practice. As we move, some other things may come to our awareness. At the completion of the next exhale, place that left foot into the floor. We're going to go ahead and roll to one side and come to a seated position this morning for a minute. So notice if you'd like any props to make yourself a little more comfortable. We had neck and shoulder requests that I'd like to honor, and we're also going to do another pranayama practice here. So we'll be here a few minutes. Let's work with the neck and shoulders before we move into the breath work, and that might make it more comfortable. So let's start with our neck and release the right ear to the right shoulder. Just notice what stretch you're experiencing through the left side there, or any tightness you might feel. Take a few breaths here. You might even gently massage outside of the neck. That would feel good. And then we'll take our left arm, we'll hang it off to the side, and then if this is available to you today, we'll walk the left fingertips out and away from you, off to the side, and just encourage the stretch down into the shoulder and the arm. If that's too intense, walk it back in. Breath is steady. And then walk the hand back in and bring the head upright. Take a breath. Notice the sensations through the left side body. And then we'll release the left ear to the left shoulder and see what's going on in this side. Without any judgments, just curious. You might massage that side a little bit with the opposite hand. And then take the right arm, hang it off by your side, and if it's available, walk the fingertips out away from you here. And feeling that stretch on the right arm, shoulder, neck. And this is optional, so if it's not serving you, release, bring the hand back to your lap or allow it just to rest by your side. Deep breath in and out. fingers back in. Bring the head up, right? Let's release the chin to the chest. A little stretch to the back of the neck. On your inhale, bring the head upright. Let's go ahead and bring our hands to the back of our head, and then supporting the head, allow it to drop back. So it might not go as far. We're just less likely to compress the cervical spine. Shoulders or chest opens as you open the elbows. Feel a little bit of a back bend here. Keep the navel to the spine. And then this will be nice for the shoulders here a little bit. We'll keep our hands here. On an exhale, round the spine, release the chin forward and draw the elbows towards one another. Tuck the tail and draw the belly into the spine. And then the inhale, everything lengthens and opens, and we gaze up. And then exhale and round. So just a little different way to do our seated cat-cow. Moving through the full length of the spine. When we expand, it's an inhale, and when we contract, it's an exhale. And then on the next exhale, just find your way to a neutral position. Hands on your thighs. Bring the shoulders up to the ears. Really hunch them up, and then just let them go. 2 more times. Hunch them up. Inhale, and release. And 1 more time. And let them go. And just allow the shoulders to relax away from the ears. So we're going to come into, now instead of alternating the breath, we're going to move or inhale through the right nostril and exhale through the left. So it's working with the sun energy. And then when we complete the practice, we're going to come into the Chandra Mudra, where we work with the moon energy. So right now this is Surya. So we're going to bring our thumb and ring finger to either side of the nostrils. You can tuck the fingers in, right, so that they're tucked in below the nose, or I prefer to rest my pointer and middle finger up by my third eye. I just find that more comfortable. So you choose. Okay. Notice any tension you're already starting to carry in that right shoulder. Just really relax that. Wherever you are with your breath, exhale out, empty completely. Gently close the left nostril by pressing the ring finger and inhale through the right. As you fill up, hold at the top of the breath. Slowly close the right nostril with your thumb. Release the ring finger ever so slightly and just exhale out through the left. Close the left, inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Mouth is closed, eyes softly closed. Hold. Close left, open right, inhale. Hold. Exhale left. Hold. Inhale right. Hold, and then now continue for a moment at your own pace. Inhaling through the right as you exhale through the left, holding at either end. No strain or stress. So when we work with the sun's energy, we're working with heating and bringing energy in. So this is a nice one to do. It's all very subtle. Just a nice one to do at the beginning of a practice. It's also a nice technique to use if you start to feel that afternoon low and would like a little energy brought in. It's not a breath you would want to work with going to bed, right? If holding the arm up becomes too much, you're carrying any tension in here, release it and just move through this breath psychically. So just imagine inhaling through the right, holding, and exhaling through the left. The next time you complete an exhale, release the hand to your lap. The shoulders relax. And just notice the effects of the practice so far. Good. So let's remove anything we're sitting on, and we're going to find our way to hands and knees. And just mindfully placing the palms into your mat, right? In a sense, you're plugging them into the earth. The creases of your wrist are parallel with the short edge of your mat. And really press down through the knuckles and the full length of your fingers, which releases some of the pressure off the heel of your hand and therefore off the wrist. Navel to spine, knees directly underneath you. And let's do a little cat-cow here. So exhaling, we round. And then reverse that. Inhaling, open. Exhale, round. Inhaling, open. Just keeping everything slow and mindful. A beginner's mind. Experiencing this for the first time. And in a sense, we are, because we've changed. Every cell in our body changes. We grow new cells. We're bringing different experiences to our mat each time we unroll it. Different life experiences have occurred since the last time we've unrolled our mats. It's changed us, whether we're aware of it or not. And then from here, we'll come into or move into Chakravarkasana. So exhaling, draw back into a child's pose. And inhaling, come back up to hands and knees. Exhaling back. Inhaling, come back up. And then notice if you'd like to extend this by bringing the heart forward of the hands, lengthening the spine, keep the shoulders away from the ears and open. core engaged throughout the movement, supporting your back. Breath guiding you, inhaling up, exhaling back through the nose in both directions if you can. If you're congested, make sure you're breathing. And then the next time you find your way back to hands and knees, let's curl the toes under. Take the tailbone high into the sky. And finding our first down dog this morning, let's walk this out. So down dog can be nice for the neck, the shoulders, and the low back. Right? Here we're just pedaling the feet, kind of moving through the spine, alternately bending the knees, lifting the heels. And then notice where your shoulders are. If you tend to hunch them into your ears, would you be willing to soften, release those shoulders? And then when you feel complete there, we'll inhale back to knees. Exhale into a child's. And let's come right into our flow, moving nice and slow. Inhaling to knees or forward. Curl the toes under. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Inhale back to knees. Exhale into child's. Inhaling to knees. Exhale, down dog. Just finding your rhythm with your breath, creating a little warmth in the body, moving mindfully each breath. And the next time you come to your knees, pause here. Let's keep our navel to the spine, so we're going to keep our core engaged here. And I'd like to come into alternate arm and leg lift. Just work a little asymmetrically across the spine, and this is nice not only for strengthening the back body, but for the core as well. So from here, we inhale the right arm, left leg, hip height, shoulder height. Okay? Core is drawn or navel drawn to the spine. And on your exhale, we release back to all fours. Inhale, left arm, right leg. So a little balance is required, a little coordination, good for the brain. Exhale. And just start to move with this at your own pace. Making sure the core is engaged, the breath is flowing. We're looking straight down between the hands. We're not lifting the head up to look across the room. If you can avoid that, it's just better on the neck, keep it more neutral. When you've gone equally side to side, pause and release back into a child's pose for a moment. And go ahead, come on up, hands and knees. And let's bring our right foot forward. If you have your blocks nearby or would like to use them, you can place them on either side of the right foot. Let's come into our lunge rock that we do so often, because this is so nice for the hip flexor and the hamstring, and both those affect the health of our low backs. So I had several of you request low back, so we're going to do our lunge rock a little bit more again this morning. So we inhale, lift the head and the heart, exhale, and draw back. Maybe the toes come off the floor, just feel that stretch to the hamstring. Inhale forward. Check out the alignment of the front knee, and please make sure it's not coming out in front of the toes. Exhale back, and if it is, then just widen your stance between the foot and the knee. What are you noticing in your left hip flexor as you come forward, and your right hamstring as you draw back? Can you find acceptance of whatever you're discovering and just treat it with care, kindness, tenderness, compassion, patience, whatever it might take, right? As you draw back this time, go ahead and bring the blocks with you if you have them. If you don't, you can simply bring your fingertips back. Okay? Blocks are just really nice for a little extra height, a little ease in the physical body. And then we're going to go ahead, flex that right foot. And then from here, find that rather than posteriorly tilting, right, this is the tendency is to round that low back and tuck the tailbone. I want you to reverse that, lengthen it out, and feel that stretch a little more deeply now into the glute. Nice steady breathing. Okay, we've warmed up a little bit more, so you might feel safe in a little bit of a deeper stretch than we found on our backs a moment ago. But listen to your body. And then we'll bring our blocks back towards the front of the mat. Bend that right knee. Pull the heel and the knee towards one another, like you're trying to pull them together. And then softly, mindfully, tenderly drop into that left hip flexor. Okay. Find that first point of stretch. Be very gentle here, please. Breathe. Okay, if it feels too intense, back off. Really listen to your body. Don't ignore its signals that it sends. And then release. Move the blocks out of the way. Hands and knees. Take a nice deep inhale here. Curl the toes under. Exhale, down dog. And take a moment and just walk that out a little bit. Notice if there's any difference between the left and the right sides. And then we'll find our way back to our knees. And this time bring the left foot forward. And then we'll find our lunge rock on this side. So we inhale forward, check out the knee, making sure it stays behind the toes. Make a modification or adjustment if you need to. And then exhale, rock back. Feel that left hamstring. Right hip flexor as we come forward. And left hamstring as we draw back. Continue to listen to the body. Notice what's different. Honor that difference. Be curious. And exhale. This time, as you exhale, draw back. Maybe bring the blocks with you if you're using them. Toes come up off the floor. Flexing that foot. And then again, notice if you have the tendency to round and tuck under. Reverse that, lengthening the spine, opening the heart, breathing deeply here. And then walk that forward. Bring the blocks with you if you have them. Pull the left heel and the right knee towards one another, just isometrically, like you're trying to squeeze them together. Engage the core, and then from there, softly release into the hip flexor. So we take that action, we find that action between the heel and the knee in order to activate the hip flexor. Okay, so remember our hip flexors are the front muscles here. Okay, and we want to activate that a bit. They're easy to pull, easy to strain. So that action helps us, kind of prevents that from happening. And then release that, come to hands and knees. Palms actively anchoring into the earth, curl the toes under, and again, finding a down dog, walking that out a bit. And then inhaling back to your knees and into a child's pose. Child's pose isn't comfortable for you. You're welcome to come onto your belly. Another option that can be helpful is to take a block between the feet, and the buttocks kind of hits a block before it hits your heels. Sometimes that can be nice. Create ease so the knees don't bend as deeply, so that's always an option too. Relax the arms and just take some deep breaths into the back body. So let's go ahead and come up and find our way onto our bellies. So let's work, or I just kind of do some strength work for the back, and then we'll also do some shoulder work here. So place the forehead in the floor. Draw the shoulders up off the floor. Press into the tops of your feet. Feel the kneecaps move away from the floor. And then slightly tuck your tailbone. Okay, so I drew the navel, my navel to my spine, and that kind of created that action. So my core is engaged. I'm going to rotate my thumbs down. And I'm going to inhale both legs, both arms, and the head up off the floor. I'm really activating my upper back, my glutes, my hamstrings are active. Reaching through the fingertips, breathing, and you're looking straight down. Keep the back of the neck extended and breathe. We're holding here for some strength work. So rather than moving in and out, we're going to hold. And then slowly release and rotate your head to one side. Let the shoulders round. Bend the knees. And then sway the feet side to side. So they can go together side to side, or you can crisscross. So this is just a little bit of a release for the low back. So notice which way feels best for you. And then we'll extend the legs back along the floor. Place your forehead into the floor. Okay. Draw the shoulders up off the floor. Press into the tops of the feet. Kneecaps move away. Engage your core. Feel a slight tucking of the tailbone. And again, lift everything up. Reach the fingertips towards the toes to the wall behind you. Feel the upper back engaging, gazing straight down, and breathe. And then release. And you can rotate your head the other way. Let the shoulders round. Bend the knees. And sway side to side. Extend the legs along the floor. Bring your forehead back to the floor. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and interlace the hands on our low back, if that's available to you, lengthening the arms. Okay, so if this is not available, you are welcome to come where we were originally, with the arms extended, just reach through your fingertips. If you can interlace, then go ahead and do so. Press into the tops of the feet, bring the kneecaps up off the floor. Now we're going to keep the tops of your feet, keep your toenails in the floor. Okay, and then what we're going to do is lift from the upper back, heart lifts, gaze is straight down. Engage the core and slightly tuck the tailbone, so we're lengthening the low back, and bring the arms, actively lengthen the arms, open the chest and the shoulders here, and breathe. You'll notice you don't have to come up very high to feel the opening in the front of the body. And then release that down. Bring the arms out in front of you and rest one palm on top of the other, like creating a little pillow for your head. And then rotate to the other side and rest here. And again, you can bend the knees, sway side to side if you'd like to. And we're going to come into that one more time. So bring your arms around side of you, forehead to the floor, press into the toenails, interlace your hands, draw the shoulders back, start to lift from the upper back, heart opens, head lifts, tuck the tail, keep breathing. Now in this round, if you want to bring the feet up off the floor in this one, go for it. I'll leave that up to you. Breath should be steady. Gaze is down. Beautiful strength work through the back body and an opening through the front. And on your exhale, release. Again, rest one hand on top of the other. Rotate your head the other direction. And if you'd like, bend the knees and sway side to side. All right, so if you happen to have your fascia balls with you this morning, we're gonna use these here just for a minute, and I'm gonna give you a choice. If you don't have them, you can simply rest on the belly. You can even place a blanket underneath the belly, opening the low back if you want to. Or if you have the fascia balls, I'm gonna give you two options. One is to place them on either shoulder, right? So as I bring my arms around side, kind of right into the chest and the shoulder area, it really feels nice. And if the head feels like it's dropping, you can use your blanket and be here. And the other option you have is to place them right on your hip flexors, either side, which is really nice for the low back. Okay, so if it was a shoulder request this morning, you might want the fascia balls up here. If it was a low back request, you might want them down by the hip flexor. And then another nice thing to do is place the blanket where you can press your forehead on the blanket and it leaves room for your nose. Right, so you're not squishing your nose in the floor. And then the neck's neutral rather than turn to one side. So just lots of options. I find it most comfortable right now to hold my arms, my elbows bent here, but you can find another position that feels right for you. We'll just stay here for maybe 2 minutes at the most. And breath is steady. Let go and release. Let's take about 3 to 4 more nice, deep, steady breaths here. And we'll go ahead and remove the fascia balls. And place your hands underneath the shoulders, press up to hands and knees. We're going to go ahead, take a moment in down dog, so exhale back. Maybe walk it out a little bit, or just simply hold and breathe. You'll go ahead, come to the knees, and exhale back into a child's pose. And maybe this one would feel nice to take a nice wide knee child's pose, big toes touch, and draw back from here. And allowing the torso to drop between the thighs, for the belly to just expand and open here. Let's go ahead and come on up, find your way onto your backs. Let's keep a blanket away from our heads for now. Let's take a little bit of time in bridge pose. So roll on back. We're going to bend the knees, feet are hip width apart and parallel, and draw the feet underneath the knees, or about 4 inches from the buttocks, approximately. Arms by your side, palms down. Draw the shoulders back, tuck them underneath you. Head's neutral. And then go ahead and roll the spine up, press into the feet, bring the hips up to the ceiling. Dvipada Pidam, this is two-legged table, neck is neutral. So we're looking straight up to the ceiling. You don't have to lift really high. Relax the buttocks, which neutralizes the pelvis. Hold and breathe right here in two-legged table. Steady breathing. Let's take 3 more breaths if you're still with me. And that third exhale, release the spine. Bring the buttocks back to the floor. Take a couple of breaths. Feel the effects of the pose. So we're going to come up one more time. This time just count maybe 5 to 6 nice long steady breaths for you. You can come up into two-legged table or into full bridge pose, in which we interlace our hands underneath us. So you decide the pose today that serves you. So we begin by inhaling up, Either right here, Dvipada Pitam, actively pressing the full length of the arm and the palms into the floor, or you can interlace your hands underneath you, lengthen the arms, roll the shoulders and lift the heart even more. Head is neutral, please. Wherever you're choosing, nice, steady, deep breaths, just 5 or 6 breaths. And if it's 3 breaths, that's okay. Right? Meet your practice where you are today. And you'll slowly release all the way back down. Feel the effects of the pose. Just notice the sensations, the results. And then we'll draw the knees into the chest. And come back to our Apanasana. Inhale, arm lengths away. Exhale towards you. And then some knee circles. And circling the other way. And then we're going to find Shavasana. So extending the legs out along the floor. Maybe you'd like something underneath the knees. Arms by your side, palms up. If that doesn't feel comfortable or safe to you, bring your palms to your belly. You might want to bring a blanket to your head if you'd like to. Maybe something on you if you need that. So that we find a place to be receptive or to receive the gifts this practice held for you today. Integrate them and bring them with you into the rest of your day. As you settle in, I'm going to take you through a guided meditation. Making sure you're completely comfortable. So adjust anything you might need to. And as you bring yourself into the present moment, just check your mind and body for anything that you might still be holding on to that's preventing you from being fully present. Allow those thoughts, those distractions to float away on a cloud for a little while. And whatever those thoughts or feelings are, acknowledge them and accept them without any analysis or judgment. And bring your awareness to your breathing. And just simply breathe naturally and normally without trying to control it. Mindful of each breath in and out, rising and falling. As you breathe in, focus on the sensations of breathing in, and as you breathe out, focus on any sensations of breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And gently shift your focus from the breath and bring it to sensations in your body. Observe and acknowledge the myriad of sensations flowing through the body, and notice how they change moment to moment. If you find any areas of tightness and tension, invite them to soften and relax. If you're not able to soften and relax, just acknowledge the sensation and allow them to flow wherever they need to go and do whatever they need to do. Now draw your attention to hearing. Observe all sounds without any judgment. Simply acknowledge the multitude of varying sounds, internal and external, moment to moment. And notice how they change with each moment. Whether it's internal or external, the sounds rise and fall. Hear them appear and disappear. Now gently shut out the sounds in the mind and shift focus to the emotions and thoughts. Observe the mind without judgment. Simply acknowledge the myriad of mental formations moment to moment. Like lying in a field and watching the clouds move and change shape as they float by. Watch the mind in the same manner. Notice how thoughts rise and form in the mind and then recede when another thought takes over. The mind is constantly thinking about this and that, functioning on its own, analyzing, planning, remembering, comparing. Experience how these thoughts appear and disappear just as thoughts. Try to avoid the pitfalls of mind snares and negative habits as you observe and experience your thoughts and emotions. Let them be, knowing they will appear and disappear and recede in time. If you do get caught up in thoughts and feelings, that's okay. It's just simply a way of returning to the present moment. When you realize you're lost in thought, in that very moment, you're no longer lost. Simply refocus the mind, observing with the clouds of thoughts and emotions floating on and on. If you do become frustrated with the wandering mind, maybe it would be good to bring your thoughts back to the breath. Just mindful breathing, if that would help you center yourself again. And when you're again centered, bring your awareness into thoughts and emotions floating by. So this present moment awareness invites you to become mindful of whatever arises with each moment in the mind and the body, whether it's a stream of emotions, thoughts, sensations, sounds, or any other sensory experience. Sit back, lie back, and absorb the internal experience as your body and mind combine and interact with constantly changing stimuli. Observe what is prevalent in the mind and body and be present to it. If nothing predominates and you're unfocused, go back to the breath to anchor yourself in the present moment. As you learn to give space to whatever is arising inside without judgment, you can begin to go with the flow. Then instead of fighting it, you'll begin to acknowledge and understand that all things change. Even feelings of anger, sadness, pain, anxiety, and confusion will diminish if you give these feelings space. Gently bring your awareness back into the breath, observing each breath rise and fall. Experience the body breathing. And then slowly create a little movement, wiggling some fingers and toes. Maybe stretching. Within the next breath or two, rolling to one side. Take a breath there. Mindfully and slowly bringing yourself to a seated position. We're going to take a moment now in Chandra Pranayama, or the lunar breath through the left nose. So we'll go ahead and thumb and ring finger once again on either side of the nose. You can tuck the fingers under or rest them on your third eye. Same choice, options. And then go ahead and release the breath out completely. Shoulder relaxed. Gently close the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Deep full inhale in. Hold at the top of the breath. Close the left and slowly release the breath out through the right. Hold. Close the right. Inhale left. Close the left. Exhale right. So the moon energy is cooling and calming. On your own, continue to inhale through the left and exhale through the right. If the arm's getting tired, remember you can release it if you haven't already, and just do this practice psychically. Just imagine, right, in your mind's eye, you're inhaling through the left and exhaling through the right. Next time you exhale out through the right nostril, release the right hand back to the lap. Spine is tall, shoulders relaxed. Observe the body. Observe the breath. And just take notice of who's going to enter into the rest of the day. And finding a loving acceptance of whoever that is, maybe being open to detours, making a change of plans if need be to honor who you are now. Let's bring our palms together to our hearts. Slight bow of the head, honoring the goodness within. Say thank you to yourself for showing up for you today, this time of self-care. And I thank you for allowing me to take the seat of teacher. Namaste.